Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're located and watching this now. My name is Sean Lardo. I am the ConnectWise Economy Evangelist. I'm actually streaming live from Las Vegas. I'm here for the CompTIA Channel Conference, which has already started out really strong on pre-day even. So if you're around, by all means, please come check us out. We do have a booth here from ConnectWise, but we're also everywhere on the floor too. So part of a lot of different committees, also panel discussions, a couple breakout sessions from some of our colleagues as well. So by all means, we are here. So hopefully you're around and come check us out. In the meantime, though, what we're here to talk about today is another episode of our Connecting Points editions of talking about vendors that are actually certified integrators within the ConnectWise ecosystem, and their involvement with Evolve. Now, the two today we're gonna focus on and introduce you all to is AvePoint and TimesZest. Long-term for TimesZest for sure. But before we get into these companies, I want to talk a little bit about what Evolve is and also what certified integrators are. So certified integrators, what that is to us, and this is a good thing for you MSPs watching this, and vendors, you should pay attention as well if you aren't currently one of them. This is actually a certification that ConnectWise gives to vendors that have gone through the processes to be actually certified within their integration securities and whatnot. Basically, what we're doing is we're helping to vet out the vendors that MSPs should look at to purchase, given a short list essentially. So if you have not checked into the nVent Certified Integrator program, you should. Now, as far as I was mentioning about Evolve, one thing for MSPs watching this as well, if you're part of Evolve or you've never heard of Evolve, what you'll come to find is that is a very good small or large group of MSPs that get together that is an actual true through and through peer group. The stats speak for themselves. You're looking on the left here at a compound annual growth rate of 18% that's greater than the rest of the TSP data set. A 28% greater EBITDA, from the rest of the TSP data set. So these MSPs are showing real progress. They're showing real growth, success across the board. It is a great program. If you want to check it out, by all means, you should do so. Things that they talk about is it's almost like being in a boardroom. We do have an event coming next week in Denver, Colorado for Evolve, August 7th to the 11th, and also then in the UK, in London, UK, August 14th to the 16th. Again, one big thing about what makes these peer groups so special even, and ConnectWise at large, is the charity that we do. You'll see that we have a charity golf tournament, which I did last year in Denver, and it was really a good time. It was really well done. And then also, you'll see that the Go Green Racing showcases the importance of alternative energy and STEM education, and we have a charity reception there. In the UK, we're doing the bike building. We did this actually last year in Denver, and we did it at IT Nation Connect in Orlando last year as well. I've done it. It's a really good time. I didn't expect to really enjoy putting together bikes, but I actually did, and it was for a good cause. So again, some of the things that we just focus on as far as charity and getting involved in the community, we hope to see you guys get involved if you're able to get there. Now, if you do going into today, we're going to talk to speakers coming up soon here. Sam Kaufman, he is a solution engineer from AvePoint, and Jerry Todd, which CEO and co-founder of TimesZest, which is a unique story. He's sort of a rags to riches story. He came in as a janitor to ConnectWise and built his way up. And I mean, look at him now. He looks like he literally vacations all the time. But you see the QR codes there. You can access them through the marketplace if you just scan those QR codes. Now, if you have questions on how to get a hold of or get involved in Evolve, or if you're a vendor and you're curious about the Certified Integrator program, Aubrey Henderson is the person for that. If you want to get into Evolve as an MSP, you're going to talk to Jody Hicks. And if you want to sponsor Evolve or sponsor any of our events, Davina Collins would be the person too. Their information is listed right here for you all. I suggest you guys reach out if you do want to get involved. Now, at large though, in regards to what we're here talking about today, and any questions from today about vendors or how to become one of these vendors, invent@connectwise.com is the email address you want to use. Now, without further ado, we actually got to talk to the people that we're here to talk about today. So we're going to start with AvePoint with Sam Kaufman. So let's get Sam up on here.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm in Vegas, like I said. I've ran probably about 75 miles in 2 days because that's what you do in Vegas. It's literally just walking.
Get that desert heat.
Oh my, yeah. I flew in from Pittsburgh yesterday, and I was like, it's so hot in Pittsburgh at 80 degrees, and I get here, it was 100.
It's like walking into an oven, right?
Oh my Lord. I'm like, how do and people were just like walking around with pants and long sleeve shirts on. I'm like, that no. So I haven't been outside since I came in. So let's talk. So where are you located out of, Sam?
Yeah, I'm based in Chicago. Somewhere in the middle, right? You flew right over us to get
Yeah, I
to
did.
Las Vegas.
I would rather have been in Chicago. Let's be honest. It'd been a quicker flight. But I do love Vegas. So let's talk about you and let's talk about AvePoint. What's AvePoint?
Sure. So AvePoint is a partner for partners to bring their customers end to end through the entire customer journey in M365. So we have solutions to migrate customers from legacy solutions and tenant-to-tenant migrations into M365, to back up their M365 workloads across the board. We have one of the largest development shops in the world. So we add the most modern workloads that Microsoft gives us available to, including things like Power Platform, being able to back up and manage Power Platform. And then we also take you through the full growth of customer maturity into security and compliance around customers' data, managing their sensitive data and access to it, as well as managing workspaces, lifecycle management of workspaces. So really a holistic view into what it means to leverage modern workspaces and these modern tools that Microsoft gives us in an intelligent and in a scalable fashion.
Okay. So, and you work directly with the MSPs.
So we work a lot with MSPs, with VARs. We have a broad base of partners that we work with, and we have a partner portal where you can manage all of your customers' deployments through a single pane of glass. So where you can onboard customers, create new instances of their deployments. You can delegate access to your technicians. You can apply subscriptions, run reporting on your customers, all of that through the one interface in our Elements portal.
Wow. Okay. So the deployments to the end users, are you involved in that, or has that become an automated thing that they do themselves, the MSPs, that is?
Sure. Yeah, we have a robust team here at AvePoint when it comes to services. We have more than 20 years of experience doing Microsoft deployments, going way back to the on-prem days. So we do have a services team that is mainly focused on training partners, getting that first deployment for you going. But we also have in-house support, myself included, to train partners on how to deploy, how to manage customer solutions, and how to effectively scale their business. So we can really help at any step of the way, depending on how much time, how much interest a partner has in onboarding AvePoint products for their customers. And this includes our integration with ConnectWise. So through the Elements portal, you can integrate with your ConnectWise ticketing solution so that you can automatically generate tickets when there's some issue with one of your customers' deployments. So for example, if a backup job fails, you can have that automatically generated ticket in ConnectWise so that you don't have to go out, constantly be monitoring this stuff. Once you set it up, it's set it and forget it. You can keep scaling out your business as an MSP, and you're still going to be monitoring those deployments that you've done already.
Gotcha. Okay. So as far as the integration with ConnectWise is concerned and whatnot, and and this is going back to, you said about the single pane of glass. Is everything's being reported into ConnectWise, or where does somebody, when they use your product or your service, where do they reside and do their work from typically?
Yeah, so the day-to-day management of AvePoint solutions is through that Elements portal. So that's where they can log in, they can create new instances for their customers, go in and manage individual products for their customers, generate reporting, including not just kind of reporting that they would use as a partner, but also auto-generated reporting that they can send on a weekly, monthly, quarterly cadence to their customers. So for example, for their backup statuses, being able to generate that backup status report for their customers, automatically email that to their customer's IT contact so that they can build that trust with their customers that this product is actually working, it's actually protecting our data. And that's what we're all about. We're all about trust and confidence and helping MSPs scale their business and reduce churn by providing such good service that that customers are really happy with the services that you provide.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna kick you into the green room now.
Sure.
So I can bring Joey in. We're gonna bring you back on because I think there's so many intertwining pieces between you and Jerway's company to talk about that. Especially what you just said there. So we're gonna throw you in the green room for a minute, get Jerway on, talk to him, then we'll bring you right back. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Sam. All right. Now coming up, the man, the myth, the legend, rags to riches, Jerway.
There you go, man. Absolutely. Listen, I'll tell you what, in every job I've ever had, I've wanted to be the person that people come to for information. And so one of the things that I always cared about was when the garbage does go out. So it did matter to me. It really did, you know?
I have no doubt. You know what? And this is why I look up to you.
That's so believable right there. I love it.
All right. So for those that don't know who you are, let's give some background on you first, because I think, especially considering your background, legitimately your background.
Sure. You want me to do it, or do you want to take any of it? How do you want to do this?
No, you go. This is
all right. Sounds good. Well,
do you any more justice than you can do yourself.
All right. Well, I guess, as it relates to this particular industry, the MSP industry, I've been in it since 2008. And my starting point was with ConnectWise. So I'm a ConnectWise alum from 2008 to 2019, like right at the beginning, end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And I started as director of sales. So I was fortunate to kind of deal with some of the challenges that are in the industry around picking a PSA, why you should use one, what matters about that the integration points with your PSA and other tools that you use. Yep. Right. So, and this whole concept of community and ecosystem, a lot of that was built by Arnie back in those days, those early days.
Yep. So let's talk about time test, since that's a good topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I exited ConnectWise, I was looking for the next opportunity and always wanted to run my own business, quite frankly. And so took a little while to get there, but I feel like I've learned a lot along the way. And I've got a couple of business partners in Jameson and Jason Legenauer. So we have built a solution that's designed to automate all of the meeting scheduling needs of MSP. So if you can kind of imagine a bookings-like solution or a Calendly-like solution, great tools, but all they do is integrate into an Outlook or G Suite instance. We are able to see the calendar that exists in the PSA. So because of our understanding of the space, right, we understand that the service team needs to live out of that PSA calendar, and pretty much everyone else outside of the service team can live out of just Outlook as an example, right? So if you're a salesperson, you don't really want to have to create a ticket every time you want to do a meeting, right? It's just clumsy, it's complicated. Even an activity is a little challenging and opportunities and whatnot. So we have built a solution that can kind of marry those two worlds together, sees into both of those calendars, can actually read both of those calendars to determine availability for an individual, but can also write separately. So a salesperson, we can just write into their Outlook calendar if they'd like us to. And then for a service person, we can write right into a ticket exactly the way ConnectWise or your PSA needs it to be written. So good stuff.
I think that's a critical piece I'm glad you mentioned it that way, as being a differentiator, because we hear all the time about people working in different platforms and having information in the wrong place. Yep. And I think you're spot on. Like a salesperson, like for me, my whole life, Outlook, right? And now Teams, great for me, right? I don't need to be in the ticketing system. And techs don't want to really be on Outlook ever. They prefer not to be, and they struggle with reporting. So I totally appreciate that. Now, from when you guys started doing this, like what would be the results somebody should expect by using your product, even like MSP wise, saving time? Do you have anything tracked like that?
Yeah, we do. We have a stat that we've worked with, and on average, what we find across all, let's call it service issues, where you do need to schedule and do some reactive support, we see that if you can automate that process, you're going to save team members at least 15 minutes per ticket.
Wow.
So you can imagine it's probably about 15 minutes per scheduled event too. So if you've got a salesperson, that's struggling to meet with a prospect or a customer, before you know it, that back and forth ping pong that happens invariably in email is going to result in, time lost, right? And a time suck. But the biggest thing that our customers really report back to us is they love the time savings, obviously. They love the fact that their teams can be a little bit more efficient. They can get some, hopefully margin gain out of that, right? By operating more efficiently as a business. But what we get back a lot, the part that is really priceless, is the customer experience side of it. So the end customer experience for the MSP is just tremendous. And we have a lot of cases where MSPs have come back to us, our customers have come back to us and said, hey, our end customers just tell us to send them a time test. And I'm like, yes, we're winning. Like, it's simple, it's easy. They understand that modern scheduling happens in a an automated way, and it shouldn't be done the old school email back and forth or voicemails even. So
right. Nope, I can appreciate that. I've done it for years, especially when salespeople go through all the time. It's already a struggle with salespeople, let alone if you're trying to do tech stuff too. So I totally appreciate that. I think when it comes down to it, the efficiency and effectiveness of a product is so important. And if you can automate those mundane tasks, which is what you're doing, you're automating the actual administration of just scheduling stuff, which is crazy. It seems like it seems like a trivial idea, right? But meanwhile, it was never really solved the right way from any product in particular. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the other thing we run into a lot, and you probably run into this a lot too from your experience in the space and whatnot, is there are a lot of solutions that MSPs implement that are designed to make things better for the end client, right? Mm-hmm. But 9 times out of 10, those things are behind the scenes.
Yep.
They're effectuating the device that they're managing, or they're doing something behind the scenes to deal with security and whatnot. This is for once something that they can show to their end clients that, wow, we're making change, we're improving our operations, we're constantly thinking about new ways to deliver our service to you at a higher level. And it's right in there, they touch it, it's tangible, right? It's not one of these tangible behind the scenes solutions. So that's been a great win for our customers too.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to bring Sam back on, and we're going to start talking about everything together. So welcome back, Sam.
Hey.
Right? So you had a chance to hear what Jarway does, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because you guys are big on implementation of stuff. You talk about Microsoft, it's a big deal. But what do you think about the efficiency of TimeZest?
Oh, yeah. I mean, efficiency is key for scaling out your practice. And so I love hearing what Jarway is doing over at TimeZest and how that improves efficiency for scheduling, right? For getting client meetings. That's so critical to keep operations flowing. And here at AvePoint, with the Elements portal, that single pane of glass for managing all of your customers, we've done everything that we can to streamline the process of onboarding new customers, scaling out your practice with AvePoint. That includes being able to onboard customers from right there in the Elements portal. We also give you the ability to templatize your deployments from within Elements. So you can effectively copy and paste the same configurations for your customers, that gold standard configuration out across all of the customers that you deploy to. So this includes backup configurations, policies and rules that you want to put in place on top of their collaboration spaces. So we give you the ability to really streamline this process and turn what could have been several hours of job into a few minutes to deploy a new customer and get them up and running.
Right. And something you just said about policies and procedures, right? And this ties into what Jarway was saying. And Jarway, I'll go to you with this even. The importance of, you said yourself, the end users are going right to TimeZest now. So they're training the clients to go to the right place, that's a procedure and policy piece, right? That is so hard to do. So how do you make that happen? How does an MSP make that happen? How do they start training their customers to follow the policies, the procedures, the best practices?
Yeah, I guess I can try to jump in here. What I talk about a lot in our company and to the team and whatnot is, when we're delivering support, we don't feel like a broken record, we've done something wrong, right? Like you're going to have this feeling of just constantly repeating yourself and educating team members, and customers on how process should be done. Yeah, so I think it just kind of is one of those, things we have to think about all the time. We're constantly educating end clients on how best to get service from us. And, not always should it be through Times S per se, right? There's other ways that you can deliver service, and there's other starting points potentially to initiate a service issue. But yeah, it just feels like it's a constant battle. It's something we always have to be thinking about. And so whether it's through email communications or through one-on-one conversations or in QBRs, that we're really just regularly updating everyone and making sure that flows down from a train the trainer perspective at our end client sites. It's super important.
Absolutely. And what about as far as onboarding? Isn't that typically in my experience, I've seen most, if you have a successful engagement, it's typically because in the onboarding, the expectations were set properly, right? Mm-hmm. All the resources are readily available, and this is where you go to do this. This is who you call to get that. This is the process, again. So how much of a focus on onboarding? And Sam, this is probably more towards you, even for what you guys even do, because you do implementation. So what is the importance of that then, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. A smooth onboarding process is critical to making sure that a customer is satisfied with the services that a MSP is providing. And there were a few things that about the TimesEst process that I think really correlate to AvePoint as well. For one thing, the customer-facing aspect of it, that it's a way to show your customers that, hey, we are modernizing, we are giving you additional value. We're not just kind of giving you this monthly cost and not giving you anything for it. So the ability for us to give those customer-facing reports, or even to auto-generate alerts to customers to say, hey, someone did this within a workspace. Do you want them to be able to do this type of sharing, this type of whatever it may be, whatever action they took within the environment. And then as far as those customer-facing interactions, that goes across the board with AvePoint's Confidence Platform. So when it comes to collaboration around data, you can put rules and automated alerts in place around specific types of data, specific locations where data may be focused. And customers can get reports and auto-generated emails about actions on those specific data. And we also have customer-facing interfaces for the governance of workspaces. Right. So that customers can go in and review the types of workspaces that their employees are using, and putting guidelines in place to make sure that people follow the rules of the road that the organization and the partner put in place to ensure that everyone is collaborating safely and getting the most out of their investment in M365.
So let's tie this back into what you said there was it makes me go back to the percentages and growth from the Evolve group, right? And you guys are involved in Evolve, right? And that's a big part of the conversation. One thing I know that I saw in some of the peer groups, and I know, Jarrell, you're very actively and intimately involved with Evolve. You've been for years now, right? Facilitating and whatnot too. Is they talk about efficiency and operational efficiency. So, going back to the onboarding, going back to learning, being able to translate data and make decisions. So Jarway, and I'm picking on you especially because you've been so involved in these things.
Sure.
Like, when you get into these conversations about this operational efficiency, do you have a focus point? Do you talk about the onboarding? Do you talk about the ongoing training, or you talk about automating things? Like where's the conversation typically go in that case, or where's it start? Where's it end?
And just to make sure I'm on the right page, just specifically around TimesEst or onboarding in general for
MSPs, just because because I'm tying it back to Evolve, right? When Evolve, we're talking about best practices on MSPs and how they should operate, right? How they should grow their business. So, and you've been part of Evolve for a long time as a facilitator too, correct?
Yep.
So, when you get into those conversations, how do you guys address that operational efficiency conversation? Not with TimesEst, but just at large for an MSP to do well.
Yeah, onboarding a small business in this country and their IT is not easy, right? It's a big project. And I think it takes coordination. I think it takes a focus around making sure that they have really tight processes around it. So it feels to me like it's just an ongoing maturity thing in every MSP that the handoff from sales to service has to be super close, right? They really have to be engaged. Yep. They have to be having good conversations, kickoff meetings, scheduling things properly. And I think the other thing that I've seen a lot of too is an understanding of the capacity between what sales can close and what service can handle to onboard in any given period of time, right? So I found that there can be a lot of tension and kind of friction there, in the sense that sales can sometimes quite oftentimes outstrip what service can do to implement a new account.
Yep.
And that is one of the biggest challenging points that I've seen. And so, I think the biggest solution I've seen to that is just communication, quite frankly. Is it service is having a conversation with sales about, here's what our capacity is, here's how many, and the size of deals and the types of deals we can do that we can onboard in a particular month or quarter. And, a thing that we used to talk about at ConnectWise too a lot back in the day when I was there, at least, is, we were always staffing the support team for what Arnie would call N+1.
Mm-hmm.
So N is, what do we need today to run at the volume that we have? And the +1 was effectively, what is our forecast for how many team members we need to have on this team to handle the growth? And I think MSPs have to think the same way, right? What is that N+1 in service to support not slowing down sales? Whenever I hear that the sales has to pause, I'm like, wow, this is a real problem. Like, we've got to solve that. That's got to be a number one issue to solve. I mean, obviously hiring team members on the service side is not any easier these days, but there's some solutions that are popping up in the market where you can actually outsource some team members.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we're always looking to grow green team members, new junior team members in tech, and bring them into the space. So CompTIA is doing some great things with that too while we're here in Vegas, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You like touched every point that I wanted to get to all in one comment, really. So
all right, yeah, man, we're winning.
Yeah, I'm like, what's my next question now? Crap. No. So I think that's spot on. Like, you went down the path exactly where I want to go with, which is, first, you have to figure out what your offering consists of, repeatable, scalable processes, right, that you can support and service the clients. We know that, right? Now, I always see a challenge with a lot of MSPs, or not even MSPs, even vendors, that they didn't do such a good job in the beginning of that operational effectiveness, so they're not able to scale accordingly. Now, they want everybody, they want all the business they can get, but they're not really ready to scale. And I think that's a struggle point, right? So for a sales rep, you never want to tell them to slow down.
Yeah.
You never say, oh, stop selling things. That's not what you want, right? So you have to make sure they understand what they're working with. So that comes back to, this is like full circle even to you, Sam. Well, for both of your products, because both of you are service as well, both of you offer something that actually helps to automate and create some effectiveness to get rid of the mundane tasks, right? We've already established that. So, I always stress, if you can't do it, and this is an operational maturity question too, if you don't have the right places or the right people in there, outsource or purchase products or services that can help you to fill in the gaps, which is what you both do. Am I correct by saying that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Being able to automate the tasks that are going to be repeatable, that need to be scaled out across your customer base. That's critical to being able to scale. And around onboarding new customers, there are a few critical pieces I wanted to add to Jarway's comment about being able to show value quickly to your customers. That as soon as you onboard them, showing them what your value is that you're bringing to their business, how you're helping them be better, how you're protecting them better. That's critical to building that trust early on, which then goes downstream into improving customer retention. And that net retention is how you're really going to be able to grow and scale your business, because your sales folks can keep the pipeline full all they want, but if you're not able to retain those customers on the tail end, your business isn't going to be able to grow to its full potential. And so really taking this holistically is, how we tend to think about helping MSPs scale out their business.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that to the point of understanding how you're going to help think for them and how they're going to scale, because a lot of times they get caught up. We commonly use the line, you're busy working in your business, not on your business. That we see it all the time. We all know that. We've all been there. I mean, and actually, Jerry, as an owner, have you ever been in that position, working in as opposed to on the business?
Oh yeah, it's hard not to be, right? You just get sucked into it. You're forced into it a lot of times because it's the day-to-day, and before you know it, it's hard to zoom out.
So how do you overcome that then, since you've gone through as an owner?
Good question. We use EOS and I'm also a strat facilitator. So, having that context of strategic planning and really forcing ourselves to break from the business to be able to zoom out and really focus on the strategy of where we're going and what we're trying to do for the team. So yeah, I think that's as simple as that, quite frankly. You just have to carve out the time. You have to force yourself. And I think the other thing you have to be willing to do is be willing to handle having the tough conversations with the leadership group of your company.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to get in a room and be honest with each other, be able to brainstorm and have healthy dialogue, even if it's conflicting dialogue. And that WEOS and, StratUp as an example are ways to kind of tease those conversations out, make those collisions happen, and have us have to have those tough conversations to set a direction that we're all aligned on. I found in my work on that and the consulting work that I've done with it over time is that I'd rather have a C grade plan over an A grade plan if everyone is aligned behind the C grade plan.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? Like if the entire team believes in the plan, that's way better off than thinking you've got this perfect plan that no one believes in. Right. And I just find that that's, a recipe for success. And so the goal is maybe you can get a B grade plan with everyone getting together and get everyone aligned around that, and you're just going to win all day long. So
I like that. No, I appreciate that. Like for example, you guys watch college football?
Oh yeah.
Remember when they haven't been doing so well lately. So remember when Minnesota hired that new head coach some years back? They've been a failing team forever, and he came in with a bow door, and they're like, "What's the bow door for?" And he's like, "We're all rowing in the same direction. We all got to know what this is. Like, we all got to know the plan. We all got to know how we're getting there. And we all got to know what the ultimate win for all of us is." And that's all he kept doing. And the program changed around. He went from a losing team to a winning team. He even went to a bowl game, lost, but which I think is important. I think that's one thing. I interviewed a lot of MSPs from Evolve. And that's one thing they said they always failed at before they were in Evolve was understanding that communication piece to talk about where everybody is and where they want to go. Like they just assumed you knew. I think that's a challenge that I see a lot of times with business owners with their, or even managers with their employees, is that it's not really, you're not providing clear context of where you want to be and what the achievement's going to be for me, the owner or the manager, B, you, the employee, and C, the company as a whole. I think if you are able to bridge those gaps, you're good. And that's one thing. Like I said, that's one thing every Evolve MSP that I interviewed told me that was the number one problem they realized, but they didn't know it was the problem until like months into it. They did not realize it. That's a big deal. And that comes back to expectation setting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for me, it's another place where you have to feel like a broken record, right? So not only are you educating your clients all day long, but you're also educating your team all day long on the strategy, the direction, our ethos around support, all those kinds of things. If you're not repeating yourself, the team probably doesn't know where we're going.
Right. Agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah. And to tack onto that, this idea of having uncomfortable conversations with your customer, when you start with a new customer and you take over as that trusted advisor to them on their technology investments, if something goes wrong, they're going to look to you to say, "Hey, why wasn't this protected? Why weren't you doing something about this before we had a bad actor, before we had a data leak?" Right? And so being able to put those investments in place early on, have those uncomfortable conversations with your customer to say, "Hey, this is what we're seeing in the industry. This is how you need to be protected," can really end up building a lot of trust and building that value for customers.
Agreed. I think if you ever did sales, which we know Jarway and I have both, I think the common kiss of death for a lot of sales reps is trying to know everything and answer questions they can't answer instead of just being honest up front and saying, let me get back to you and find out because I don't know. You're out of my depth, and that's a simple expectation setting of, I'm not going to have the answer for you every single time you ask me right now. Sometimes I have to look things up. It's just, it creates a good relationship, and because you try to answer it and you say the wrong answer anyway, and you're down this rabbit hole of what turns into a nightmarish client, or the sales rep sells something you don't really offer. So I can totally, I've been the victim and the culprit of that in my life. I think every salesperson has at one point, that's for sure, because we know everything. But No, so all in all, I think it's important. I think the things that I've gotten from this conversation so far is operational maturity is important in this case. Thoroughly setting expectations, onboarding, maintaining business continuity through it, automate what you need to, and then also make sure everybody's on the same page and knows where we're going. Did I miss anything out of that?
It's good.
I mean, that's
I
like
think that's a solid checklist.
right. That's a pretty robust conversation, right?
Oh yeah.
Perfect. All right. Jarway, I know you and I got to go do stuff because we were at CanoCon.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate gentlemen being on. For people that want to find you, as I mentioned, we have the QR code, and that takes you right to the marketplace. It takes you right to the companies. You can find them. I mean, I know Jarway's on LinkedIn all the damn time, so they can find you guys on LinkedIn. I'm assuming anywhere else they can find you
Yep.
all.
LinkedIn's the best. Yeah.
LinkedIn is the go-to.
All right, perfect. So yeah, again, Jarway's here with a booth also at ChannelCon. So if there's anybody watching this that's at ChannelCon, by all means, stop by and see the Times As booth. He'll be there with Jameson, and I don't even know who else. I know Jameson.
Jameson and the team.
And the
We'll be
team.
here. Yep.
There you go. Otherwise, that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you so much. Everybody that watched, thank you so much. You can find these guys at every Evolve conference at this point. So that's
Awesome.
it, right? All right. Have a good day, gentlemen. Jarway, I'll see you in about a half hour.
All right, man. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
All right.
Thanks,
See you
Jarway.
guys.
Have fun in
Thanks,
Las
all.
Vegas.